Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 10 of the Revenue Diaries. I am super excited for the guest today. It's somebody that I looked up to as a marketer. He's got the hustle of unlike anybody I've ever met. Dave Gerhardt, CMO at Privy. We talk about everything from Hanes black shirts to Air Jordans to how he's like Pablo Picasso, as well as moving to Vermont and taking risks and being a parent and D1 baseball. We talk about we pack a lot of stuff in this episode. So I hope you enjoy. Like all of our episodes, today's episode is brought to you by Lessonly, training software for sales and customer service teams. If you need to onboard, if you need to practice, if you need to role play, if you need to train, Lessonly's got it for you. So check it out at lessonly.com. All right, everybody, enjoy. All right. Cheers, everyone. Welcome to the Revenue Diaries. It's a deeply personal interview series where we ask the top revenue leaders in the world 5 to 6 questions about their work, fears, family, life. There's just one catch. We don't share any of the questions in advance. So Dave has no idea what I'm going to ask him. I did a ton of research. And I am pleased to welcome one of the most stylish CMOs this side of the Mississippi and one of the best marketers I've ever had the pleasure of knowing, and a newly minted Vermont, I think it's Vermontian. Is that correct? Is that correct? Because
I haven't been here long enough. I couldn't tell you. I still think that I live in Boston.
So welcome, Dave, to the show. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I am the most stylish CMO in the world because I don't have to think about what I'm going to wear every day. I look pretty good in a black t-shirt. Yeah, I'm Dave Gerhardt. I'm the CMO of Privy. Privy is the #1 app for sales on Shopify. Before that, I did marketing at Drift for 4 years, grew the team from 0 to 30 people. Been at Privy, it'll be a year in December. And then also on top of the Privy thing, I have a group of marketers that's called DGMG, which is creatively named DG's Marketing Group, which is me, which is like a private community of about 1,400 people that we just talk marketing, and I have a podcast and videos and stuff there.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that because I think it's the way you rolled it out was fascinating. So again, Dave didn't get the questions ahead of time. Let's start with the first one. As far as I can tell, you're very good at placing big bets, taking risks, from rolling out a new category at Drift, going big with the Drift conference. The first time I ever heard you speak was at OpenView when you rolled out the no landing page I don't think you rolled it out. It was like you had been talking about it for at least a year. You jumped ship at Drift to join Privy, starting your own community on Patreon, LinkedIn videos, TikTok, et cetera, et cetera. Do you bet big and take the same calculated or uncalculated risks in your personal life?
No, because I think there's not too many things that I take risks on. I just think like marketing is something that I'm really comfortable with, and just feel like I feel like there's always another. To me, marketing is just like one big creative problem. And I never thought of it that way. And I love the challenge of I love the problem solving of it. And so like the reason that I do so many different things is because I really, to be honest with you, like I don't care too much if they fail. I don't, because I feel like, who am I to even be here? The fact that I'm a CMO of a great company and like have had a pretty good career over the last, 5 to 7 years in particular, is still like a joke to me. Like I was never good in school. I didn't take business very seriously. I never expected to be a business person. I was working at a company 5 years ago where I was tucking in my shirt and wearing pleated khakis every day. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just not who I am. And so like, I feel like I'm really comfortable being myself now. And I'm really comfortable in that lane in marketing. And so I don't care if I have an idea and I launch it, it doesn't go anywhere. It's fine. I got more at bats. On the personal side of things, like maybe just because I have little kids, like I don't do that much. Like people, my least favorite question on podcasts is like, so Dave, tell me like, what's a fun fact or give me a hobby? And like, you're probably like scratching out your questions right now, but like, I don't have any. Like like the weirdest part about me is like my hobby is marketing, right? That's
Right.
why I have this DGMG thing. My hobby is marketing. I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and then since moving to Vermont, I've gotten to get back into golf, which is something that I really love. And so like outside of that, there's not too many risks to take. And I think my wife and I have a lot of like really thoughtful, real conversations. And like we come to we try to like disagree and commit. And I just don't think we're big risk takers in a personal life. So.
But I would categorize, maybe moving to Vermont was not random, but you definitely, like, it was sudden, right? Maybe not random, but sudden. So I would say that that's a risk, right?
Yeah, for sure, 100%. But I think like, I think my thought on that was like, yeah, I guess you're right. I guess like I do take a lot of risks, and I think if you look at, which is funny now, if you go to my like, if I did my, have you ever done predictive index, like the personality test?
Yeah.
So if you go to that one, my personality profile is like the captain, and it's like, really low tolerance, really, really low patience, wants things to happen quickly, doesn't really follow instructions, and just kind of like has to be fully autonomous. And so I think like that's how I make decisions at work. In life, I think here's the honest answer. We had enough money to make a down payment on a house. And so I felt like
Maybe it was right.
For the first time in my life, confident about like, I didn't feel like we would be stretched thin if we made this. And typically I'm super conservative with money, just like, cause I've never really had a lot of it. I come from a great family, middle class, like, money was not an issue. Right. But like, I've never had like a huge bank account. And so, not that I do now, but like I just felt more comfortable being like, you know what, there's not too much downside. Like the rent is going to be the mortgage is going to be less than what we pay in rent in Boston. The kids are going to have an amazing life with much more access to outside. And you know what, if for some reason it doesn't work, like I don't know why it wouldn't work. I had a good conversation with Ben, my boss at Privy, and like there's lots of other reasons. Look, remote can happen. I just was like, I just took the bet that it was going to work. And
and if it doesn't, you can go back to Boston or go farther north.
I'm not, if it doesn't work, I will stay right here. I'm not going anywhere.
Become a professional golfer, right?
That's not happening either.
But you did play competitive baseball, correct?
Yeah, I did. So I went to a small D1 school simply for ego reasons, which was like the stupidest mistake because I never played. And what I realize now, of course, right, Mr. Wise man with 2 kids, and I'm 33, I'm an old person, right? Like I don't know anything. But when I look back now, I should have gone to like a D2 or D3 school and like played. Like I missed that now. Like I'm like, oh, you didn't take advantage of that. Like you could have like played a lot, still traveled, still done all that stuff, still feel the same feelings, and actually gotten to play more. And so, I think that was a miss on my part. But you live in your.
Do you miss playing baseball, competitive baseball?
Not for a second. I burnt out on. I don't even enjoy watching baseball. I don't like talking about it. I just like something happened that I just became so burnt out on it. That I have no passion for that sport at all.
So what about your kids when it comes to baseball, softball?
Yeah, I mean, I love my kids, and so like I'll get behind whatever they want to do. If they want to play baseball, I'm sure, I could see myself getting back into it if my kids get into it, right? You have nostalgia and it's fun, and to be able to play catch is a fun thing to do. So I'm not like, it's not like, I'm against it. It just personally it's not what gets me going.
So you moved on to golf. It's harder. Well, actually, I never played baseball, so
I also got burnt out on golf, but now I've moved back really into it because it's like one of the few things that you can do, from this age until whenever, and like still be really competitive. Like I love baseball, I loved basketball, but like, I can't really be out there playing, pick up basketball every Saturday, and I'm probably gonna, break an ankle. Like, and that's not true for everybody, but I'm not very good at it. And so golf is something that I'm good at, and like I'm realizing, oh my God, I have the next 30, 40 years to even get better. So
yeah. Phone calls. Okay, so at the beginning of this interview, I mentioned you are the most stylish CMO this side of the Mississippi. You and I share a love of Air Jordans, and I'm guessing you love Nike, right? I mean, is that fair to say, or is it just a shoe? Okay,
Can you see
that's
this? My
yep.
shorts? Okay. Yeah, I usually only Nike. Yeah,
So
sure.
but you have a very distinctive uniform, and you've had it for, I don't know if you started out at Drift with it, but you've had it for quite a bit of years now. You pretty much wear all black,
Yeah.
black jeans, sneakers, hoodie. When did you start that, and why?
This is
Why all
such a
black?
ridiculous question. To
I got
just
this
like,
from one of your sources, by the way.
what do you mean? One of my sources?
I'm sorry, one of my sources that I asked
Oh
about.
my
What
god,
questions would you ask Dave if you could?
that's definitely Gail, and I love her. But okay, so I sat next to her every day for a year. You realize, learn a lot about somebody.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I did it was I got like back into sneakers once I realized like, oh yeah, I'm at cool startups now. People don't like really have to wear suits and dress up and wear ties and stuff to work. And so like, it started with like a golf shirt and pants. And then it slowly is like, this is like, I'm wearing what I think I'm supposed to wear at work, but this is not what I really want to wear. Then I really got back into sneakers, and sneakers, if you're going to get into like Jordans and other sneakers, like you have to be able to, the top and the bottom have to match, right?
Right.
You can't be wearing like the pleated Dockers and a pair of Jordans. And so like, all right, then I like, okay, so I got some black jeans and I got some like darker jeans. And then I remember specifically being like, you know what, these pants are kind of cut funny though. Like I want them to look like nice on top of the sneakers. And so then you got a certain type of cut of pants.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to wear black. I'm just going to wear a t-shirt every day. Cause it's like, I finally found a good type of t-shirt.
What's
This
the
is
t-shirt?
important. I think it's honestly just like a Hanes on Amazon. There's like
Nice.
a 5-pack for like $20. So I just started wearing the t-shirts. They feel good. They fit good. And every day I didn't have to think about it. I wanted to think about what shoes am I going to wear today. And so I'd work out. I'd go shower. I'd be like, boom, t-shirt, jeans, sneakers every day. I don't have to think about it. And it's not like, I couldn't be further from Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs and the other
Right.
people who have
Productivity hack.
uniforms. Like, I promise you, it's not a productivity hack. It's just like, I know what I like. It makes it easy, and I'm just gonna stick to it.
Well,
It's
you're getting older, man. You're getting older. Like this is like
yeah.
it's the same with me. I'm like, if I find a polo that I like, I buy like 10 of them because
It's
I don't want to try to figure it out. I don't
no,
want
you
to try
don't
to
need to
figure it out.
figure it out. I got like I'm a bald man in a t-shirt and jeans. Like how easy is that? But my wife gives me such a hard time because she's like, you have no hair and you wear the same thing every day. Why does it take you 40 minutes when we're trying to get out of the house?
Well, I haven't thought about this until today, but there is a fine line of the pant, right? Because if you're wearing pleated Dockers with Jordans, you look like a weirdo. But if you just switch out jeans, you look fine. So
You
just
look fine.
don't, everybody listening, watching this, don't wear khakis. I don't care if they're pleated or not. I don't care if they're cool khakis with Jordans or with any sneaker for that matter, right? And you heard it from
Yeah.
Dave.
And ultimately, don't take your fashion advice from us. Start
Right,
watching
very true.
videos on YouTube.
Right,
You can just
we're both bald, and I
Yeah,
wear hats on
you can
Zoom
just
calls.
you can just Google like how to wear Jordans and you'll
Or
be
just
in a
buy
better
GQ.
place.
Just buy GQ.
No,
You
no.
can read GQ. All right. So I was gonna ask you how you met your wife, but I have an even better question now that I worked a few sources, right? Which will remain anonymous. Did the Celtics win or lose the game at which you met your wife?
Whoever gave you that information is false information. um, there's no connection to my wife and I in the Celtics.
How'd you meet your wife?
We met at a bar in Boston called Tia's on a Thursday night. Which if you've ever been in Boston on a Thursday night when you could go, it was a great time. I was 25, she was 25. We both were not seeing anybody else, and we met on a Thursday night, and that was it. We got married in 2015,
Nice.
so we'll be coming up on 5 years in September.
That's awesome. Well, Joe Chernov gave me that, so I think he's punking me through an interview with you.
It
Or is
just
there a reason he
falls.
would have given me that? Because now I'm not going to let him
And
remain
he
anonymous.
worked with both of us actually. Joe was my boss at HubSpot, and he worked with Leah at Insight Squared. So
Oh, really? Well, thanks for nothing, Joe. Thanks for punking me in an interview series with Dave.
nice, nice.
Okay, last question, then we'll roll. Have you read The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene? Great. You got it.
This one?
I mean, you're just not one that buys it, right? You read it too.
No, I just buy it. Actually, I do the opposite. I only buy it after. I actually haven't even read this one. I read it on audiobook and
On
Kindle
audio,
first,
yeah.
and then I bought it to have later, so I look smart for when people
So,
ask.
so law. I think it's law 6. He mentions Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso never allowed himself to appear normal. If his name became too much known with a particular style, he would confuse the public with a new series of paintings that went against all expectations. And this was his true painting style. In my opinion, I feel like you do the same thing. And you may have mentioned this at one point. Do you consciously change, or is it more on just instinct? On, you're tired of doing something, you just move on to the next thing, or are you thinking about it?
I think it's a lot of instinct, but I think the instinct is driven by subconsciously thinking about it. I think when I feel myself starting to do the same thing over and over, like I'm definitely very much like a starter as opposed to finisher. And so when I feel myself doing something over and over and over again, and it no longer becomes fun, then I just have this urge to switch up, and I just have a lot of ideas, and I want to like test them all. And I think the best marketers and just people that are interested in business can reinvent themselves. And so I feel like, Jay-Z has this great line in a song called You Don't Know, where he talks about, I could sell ice in the winter. I could sell fire in hell. I'm a hustler, baby. I could sell water to a well. Right. And like, I really relate to that as a marketer. Like, I just feel like
Yeah,
my superpower is being creative and coming up with creative ideas and problem solving. And so I just have the confidence of like, sure, I need to sell a vitamin. I can sell a vitamin. I need to sell a book. I could sell a book. Because I need to sell software. I could sell software. Because when you know the principles and the timeless lessons, and like they're all rooted in the same things. And so I think that's what's been really interesting that I've learned over the last couple of years.
that's awesome. Okay, last one. This is for the practitioners listening, because we have to throw one of these in. You are the best that I know at getting an internal team jazzed up about a brand play or a software or whatever the hell you want to sell, right? And it's outside of just marketing. You get a whole company. I saw it at Drift. You're doing it at Privy. What's the secrets? Like, what's the tip? What's the one or two things that people need to know when they want to roll out something that you did at Drift, or what you're doing now at Privy?
So it starts with yourself, and you have to become great at public speaking internally. And I think a skill that I worked really hard on while I was at Drift was presenting in front of the company. And, you could talk to people who were at Drift during that time, but like it became this thing. Like when I was presenting, there was almost like a buzz, like, okay, what's he going to announce? What's he going to unveil? And I just took it like, hey, I'm basically like the spokesperson for this company. My job is to like, I'm not creating any of these things. The product team is, marketing is, sales is, but I'm going to be the one that's going to get you so excited and tell the story that you're going to be like, oh, I believe in this. And so through Drift, I was able to speak a lot at lots of different conferences. And like, so we also had like internal rhythms. We had show and tell on Fridays and another meeting on Mondays. And so instead of just not prepping, I took that stuff seriously. Like I really prepared and had a story, and like got good at storytelling and having frameworks for stuff. And so I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go in this meeting. Here's the framework. Here's what I want to leave people with, like the impression. And you could feel it, you could actually hear people get excited. And so I think you have to be, if you want people to follow and to be excited, you have to be the number one person who, no one's going to be more excited than you if you're the marketing leader or CMO or whoever. And so I just have always tried to like set that tone, and then it becomes contagious. I see it now with people on my team and others. Like, I don't have to do so much. I'm actually not doing so much of it here. There's other people on the team that
Yeah,
are
there's
that have
people
like
that took
picked
up
up on that.
the banner for sure.
Yep.
All right, Dave, this has been awesome. Thank you. If I mean it, you'd have to live under a rock not to be able to find you online. And now everybody knows you live in Vermont. But where could
I'll
people?
find you.
Where
Don't
could
find me.
people
I'll
find
find you. I'm
Where's the one
at,
place they can go?
go to Twitter at Dave Gerhardt. That is the best way to chat.
Awesome. Great. Again, thanks for stopping in, Dave.
See ya.
That wraps up another episode of the deeply personal and always revealing Revenue Diaries. I'm not Joe Rogan or Dave Gerhardt. So if you like this episode, hell, if you love Air Jordans, which we do, go rate, subscribe, download, share, review. You know the drill. Everybody listens to podcasts. Thanks for listening and watching. Cheers, everybody.